All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am so glad to be here with all of you tonight and to introduce Stephen, a beautiful and wonderful voice. Stephen is a California poet with roots in both the Ohlone and the pioneer soil of his home state. He was born and raised on the Monterey Bay of Central California and received his secondary education at UC Santa Barbara and UC Santa Cruz, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts degree and went on to earn a master's degree at San Francisco State University. In addition to writing poetry, Stephen has dedicated over 30 years to public radio as a programmer of folk music from America, Canada, Ireland, and the British Isles, in addition to working more than 20 years as an educator and mentor in the public schools. Stephen is a descendant of native peoples who built the Carmel Mission, gold rush families who settled in the gold country of the foothills, and a farm family in Carmel Valley. His poems are steeped in the indelible aura of California. His first collection, Releasing the Days, is drawn from over 30 years of Stephen's work, crafted from his sense of place and grounded in ocean, orchard, and rock. His poems strip down life to its bare essentials. Memory joins hands with the reeds and the smell of matches. An old woman leans on a walnut tree beside a house half haunted with unuttered toils. And the moon slips past the bruised Nevada mountains, echoing the night's journey from the sun, characterized by a profound connection to the past and the stark magnificence of the present. Releasing the Days leaves an imprint that remains long after we pass the roadside barn, swallowed up by grass and time.
All right. Well, first we want to thank my wife Carly, who's sitting in the room here, because she's helped me a great deal with my life in general. This first one is John's song. At the end of the counter, the old man's falsetto quavers, brittle as his cup, some tune from the 20s. His voice a frayed reed or the sound of bees nesting in wood. It is his last October. Wrists about to let his hands go the way of fruit, he does not lay them down, though they shake ever slightly out of the sleeves. It is a song from the 20s. He moves as he sings, the way I've seen sick gulls rocking in the wind. He does not care who watches the white-dusted fragment of his body and the frail song mythic and fragile as his sight. Next one is called Faith in Words. Outside the crickets beat on the still night air. Close about the house, the not quite silence, the not yet redeemable promise of life lived for words. The fog hangs low in the Alders Cross River, obscuring the vision, the indistinct sound of the water, the wetness of the sand. This one is called For the Living. It is a poem that is uh, in the cement down on the Embarcadero right across from Chestnut Street. For the Living. Standing high on this hillside, the wind off the Pacific forming the language of grasses and escarpment, eternally speaking. The seabirds far out on their plains of air gather and squander what the short days encompass. We make what we can of what reason can give us. We take from these all too brief moments some reckoning of meaning, hoping as we hurtle haphazard through this storm of a cosmos to make some small imprint. While the birds in their white realm reeling over the tumbling green ocean, this plated earth gliding beneath us like a wind under shoulders, and the language we hear in the grass on this hillside is all of it mythic and wondrous as the goddess's dream. Reweaving the World Ohlone for Linda Yamane. Enmeshing with bone all with curved tooth, with dreaming. Again, living patience, the slow walk and choosing. The arms and the fingers of plants, the bent branches, the willow, the cattail, the root, the crisp grasses, the green limb, the gold stem, the soft flesh, the cleansing, the sheer thought, the taut hand, the earth's whirling music in your palm, in your lap, in your sphere, in your circle, this basket, this dance upon the ground. My folks were from the Carmel area, Monterey, Carmel Valley. Very familiar with Point Lobos. Our silence sings. We are the ones born on this crescent of rock and water, born of this light, friends of this sea, beneath these cool constellations. The wind in the pine boughs sings our song. In stillness, we are listening, here beneath the trees. We are native. We were born to rest among these stones, the roots and tongues, the quiet turned among these bones. Eucalyptus. Torn orange bark limbs littering the road. We walk, the boy asking about the trees, medicinal smell. I tell him of past days when I slept in old trucks, and the grove sent me down enough branches for a fire every night. Faithful as a body. The grocerman's light in the dark like a bullet against glass. Low tide gumming at the sand breaks monotonous beyond. In the leaves along the street, the philosophy of flight. Contentment unachieved and aching in the ribs, the too much alcohol done to the sing-song of nerves. My coat of obscurity faithful as a body this night. Naturalist. My son, in the green morning light of the forest, prone amid needles and bracken, his tiny hand pointing. There in the cluster of duff, the small insect moves with a purpose through the chaos of litter. I watch from above them, my young son, the insect, the rough track through soil grains and pollens of springtime, the sound in the trees of strong wind above us, and above that, the startling blue. Some of these are from my second book, Winter Work. The nuances of grief. It has come to this shared room in a cheap stucco rest home. Your last 30 days for our hearts like betrayal's cold silver. By your bedside in darkness, a firmament of losses. The photos of children glow soft by the night light that watches you sleep out the nightmarish violence, whatever phantasms derangement has ordered, whatever sad memories you're allowed. In your small bed suspended, you stare through the shadows. In a rare lucid moment, pick lint from your blanket, conversing with no one, your mouth a small pocket of woolen words imprisoning the sound. Nevada. Out here, the bruised mountains and a sun falling fast. Just the sound of those trucks on the highway, these yellow leaves sheltering, and the moon, a frail disk that has risen half a purple world away. Dawn. Lantern glow on redwood. In the dark outside, the slightest wind. In the leaves, the tiniest change in night. Small birds from hidden places hold, then let go one by one, the language of light. Unreckoned. For a small voice, I feel everlasting. The lupins and poppies erupting, the black oaks in vibrance, all grasses, the bird and the insect, the hawks combing hillsides, the piles of cloud east on the mountains, loosing high Sierra snow. Unreckoned in this meadow, my shadow, my presence, these words becoming less than the tiniest of breezes in the quiet gray pines over the hill. I am here nonetheless, and I feel like I have lasted for all time. I have survived. Drought. Hot breath on lupin, on sizzling Sierra. Parched grass, the seed pods tick soft in slow wind. On the skittle this summer, madrones are bright yellow. Ponderosa, brown needles, low water sucks the stone. There's another reference to Point Lobos. An old friend of mine sat talking about all kinds of important things for us. Confidences for Terry. Point Lobos and the lost coast, beckoning like fire. We sat, each staring at a green lighted clock in the dash of that car years ago. In that silence the fog made, my words matter less than the act of your listening and your hearing what I said. Night close in the pines about the windows, life waiting just ahead. A fire if it burns. Bent willows rattle in the wind overhead. The remnant of the match still smokes in your hand. I was 12, you were 50. I was 50, you were 12. Hovered over the wet wood, that barely burning symbol of the generations passing. In the thicket near the rumble of the river, your eyes red as firelight from drinking all the beers. The white man's curse upon each swimming that rare blood. With the roar of the wind and water in the trees, you stared across that 50 years, the wild eyes rough as the stubble of your jaw. The despair planted then on the full drift of river comes home every Christmas everlasting, like that other kind of gift. For Chief Joseph, your cook fires here just a short time ago. You passed without sound by this stream in the dark. The smoke now in tatters in the dawn wind unfurling, like the death in bad blankets of your merciful wisdom. The blue world you worship now follows you solemn as a grave. I lived in Oregon for a while. This is a poem entitled Roseburg. From a ridge through Oregon mist, the incessant snag and fart of the saws. A gang of tin hats comes out black-faced, shouldering chain and gas from a dawn to dark cut, yellowing in the blue smoke of trucks going home. Near the hot springs at Mono, the clear air is dancing over jade-colored snowmelt. The gray stone has faces, implacable and stark. On this lake, in this fastness, there is a quiet above all. The gorge leading out of this glacial place gleams. The clattering river is so far below us, all we can hear is the sun.
Good.
To winter. Night dives like an owl. The brown river rises. He tends the sad fire, a kind of victory in the rain. He mutters, placing broken sticks in homage to this winter, where all comes down about him, dark and storm. Pulling up the sun, warming by this fire of dead fallen oak, on this frigid spring morning, years now away from home, I think here of my father, who made fire every day, the heat of it, the light of it, pulling up the sun, and my grandfather's ever-burning glimmering of coals, the old hearth, the chimney where his boot heel rested, the simple flame, the branches, the silence, and the stone. This is kind of the season we're in. Language. On this dull edge of springtime, white fields stand and shudder. The snow and new grasses intermingled in the cold. Words emerge slowly in a small fire's language, the halting tight stutter of image and darkness with the light. Outside for Doug Bean. That last time, so frail, a rack of bones hung against the bed. The beard since your illness, like weeds, filling spaces where the cancer had removed you from within. Medicinal and quiet, I hear the clock chime. I see the smoke climb from the joint as you doctored yourself. I can hear your words thank me, can feel my soul turn. The afternoon light, the sun over the boats in the harbor, the life outside. I think I'm going to close it right there. Thank you very much. I appreciate this so much.
Oh my goodness. I'm just going to say that. I appreciate this so much. Well done.